All right, welcome to another expert interview. We were saying this before I hit record. This interview is gearing up to be the one people really want to hear. I've interviewed some amazing people. These gentlemen are no exclusion to that statement, but I've received a lot of emails because I think people are feeling the burnout. People are feeling the exhaustion. People are feeling that frustration of, hey, I'm successful, but and what do I do about it? And I'm so excited that we get to dig into this conversation today. I'm always excited for our guests. And so with that, Kyle and Eli, tell us about yourselves, man. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll dive in.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate you being here.
we are stoked and honored to be on this. Lots to unpack. We have some stories and a little bit about our business. But my name's Kyle. This is my best friend, first of all, and business partner, Eli Libby. We've been doing business together for 13 years now with different ventures. And this is the one that is our legacy business that we're really excited to share. But we hail from Central Oregon and Bend. We love where we live and we live where we love. Other than that, anything you want to jump in maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited to be here, Devin. Thank you for everything you do for this community, for us. You are truly a super connector, and it's we're just excited to be here. It's going to be fun.
Man, I appreciate you guys. I know we have so much fun. We do have a little group chat too. We always joke about stuff. And I share that because our mantra is real people, real conversations, real connections, and you guys are the real deal. And I've always appreciated that about you. Let's go back in time. Like, how did you end up in this business? Because I think that journey is important to your mission. So talk to me a little bit about the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll jump in. November 8th of 2018, I was living in Paradise, California, Northern California, beautiful Nevada foothills. And I was doing well. I had a business. I had a 6-month-old. Me and my wife, we bought our first home up in Paradise a few years before. And things were feeling like I was adulting finally. I was getting things going, making a little money. And unfortunately, on November 8th, a fire broke out in Paradise. It was called the Camp Fire, which was the #1 catastrophic event in 2018 worldwide. And sure enough, my house burnt down, my parents' house burnt down, and my business lost it all. But to throw on top of that, the day before, November 7th, me and my wife had a miscarriage. And when you get to the point of not only being in a valley, but digging the trench in a valley, you just start to put away all the emotions. You don't really think about them, and you just need to be resilient and move forward. I suppressed those emotions so hard for years. I was able to show up at the business that Eli and I had. I was able to put a mask on in front of my friends and my family and be like, oh, I worked through it. I'm moving forward. I'm positive. I'm resilient. But April 21st, 2021, I woke up that day and my life literally came crashing down. It was around 4:30 in the morning. I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, this is it. I'm checking out. I'm so numb. I have so much emotion. My anxiety has literally taken over my life. And I was to a point of ending it. And I didn't know what to do anymore. But luckily, I heard the word escape. And I think most people would think that's escaping life. But the way I took it was I need to escape the noise. I had so much noise going in my life. I had so much external coming at me. And I couldn't see straight. I couldn't feel. I couldn't even focus on what was next. And what I did was I escaped to 3 days by myself, what we call today a solar retreat. I had no clue what that was then. I had some primitive journal prompts, some notes from my wife, and I went and escaped the noise to turn everything off. And what that did was I heard my inner voice for the first time. And having structure during those 3 days was life-changing. Being able to do some self-reflection, do some self-discovery of who I am, why do I tick, what are my limited beliefs, what's my emotional baggage I'm holding. And through those 3 days, I was able to actually craft a vision forward of who I want to be, re-identify who I thought I was and who I know I needed to be. And sure enough, I came back to the office, completely different business owner and co-founder with Eli. I was the father, the husband, and friend I knew I wanted to be and show up as. And that completely changed my life. And sure enough, though, when it rains, it pours. And Eli went through some valleys of his own, which I'll let him jump on. But something that I've learned through the experience that I had was I thought that solar retreat that I went through was for me, but I actually was gifted that experience to share with others. And this was so primitive of what we have today. And the structure was so small, it still shows having solitude and structure and time to yourself to listen to your deep voice works. And it works really well, especially when you're burnt out, especially when you don't have an answer moving forward. But I'll let you jump in.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What is so unique about Kyle's story is he came back having a vision forward of what he does and why he does it.
Yeah.
Not only in the business world, but in his personal life as well. And I'm one of the closest people to him, aside from his wife. And I saw this 360-degree transformation. And now I see it in hundreds of students that we've been a part of. But to Kyle's point, in 2021, in a span of 2 weeks, I went through a divorce. I found out I was being cheated on and my marriage crumbled. Our business at the time absolutely crumbled in that 2-week period. And I lost my great uncle. It was this kind of massive cornerstone and compass to my life. And at that time, a lot of people have probably gone through similar things. You start to think and you ask the question of, is it me? And that question can't leave your head. Is it me? Is all this happening because of me? Am I a bad leader? Am I a bad owner? Am I a bad entrepreneur? Am I a bad husband? All of this stuff goes through your head. And I was lucky enough that Kyle had gone through this, kind of call it a solo retreat back then. And he handed me some journal prompts and said, dude, you got to remove the noise, get away. And so I did that. And long story short, came back completely transformed. But really, I had vision and alignment. That's the key word that we use a lot in our program today, is alignment around what I'm here for and what my calling is. And it really realigned that vision around my values. And it allowed us to move forward and really have one of the biggest months that we ever had in the business. And then I was able to get through my personal stuff. So that was really like the ethos behind what we do today. That was everything.
Is it me? I love that. I want to highlight that. I want to marinate in that for a second. I feel like the entrepreneur journey is so much of that storytelling and that internal dialogue, most of which is not true. But how do you escape that, right? Like, how do you give yourself enough separation to be able to actually work through that? And so let's actually let's fast forward to today.
Cool.
What do you offer? What the heck is the solo retreat? Give me the structure so people know where we're at today, and then we'll dig in a little more.
Sure. So the power of what we're doing today is we are giving people the permission and the structure to go do a self-guided, structured solo retreat. A lot of individuals are hearing about thought leaders, Aaron Rodgers, Bill Gates, Matthew McConaughey, doing these clarity retreats, solo retreats, silent retreats, however you want to call that. But they'll go into the woods with a blank journal and it'll just come back blank because they have zero structure. So what we're doing today is we are giving them that outlet and that structure. So we are shipping a tangible, call it a solo retreat in a box, solo retreat kit. They are taking this to a place of solitude, peace, serenity, stillness for them. If they like the ocean, our concierge team will help find an Airbnb with a deck and a hot tub and a sauna, whatever their needs and amenities are. They'll take this program, this box, out to that place. They will unpack it. And when they do that, inside of it are 3 workbooks. These workbooks really allow you to double click into some of these different various sticking points, roadblocks, limiting beliefs in life, all focused around self-reflection, self-discovery, and vision crafting. And those are the 3 buckets, along with a bunch of other goodies that represent intentionality and presence. Those are the 2 big things, Devin, when you asked about, is it me? The only way that you can do that and have that real deep conversation with yourself is to give yourself that permission to be intentional and be present and not worry about anything else. Until you do that, you really can't have that conversation with yourself. And that inner voice will not give you that answer. So that's what we're doing. We're building structure. They're workbooks, activities, journal prompts, guided meditations, guided audio notes, exercises, all with the intention to find clarity and realign with your purpose. That is what the program is about. We do some one-on-one coaching and debriefing when they come back, all to prevent them from backsliding. And that is what we see a lot. And Devin, I know you're in this kind of similar world of accountability coaching and people setting goals and looking for somebody to lean on. That's what we do in the back end of the program.
Just want to jump in and add a little bit more to that. The integration afterwards is very important. There's programs out there that are coaching, there's books, there's podcasts, there's seminars you could go to. All of that, they're beautiful moments you could have, complete transformation. But 2 different things here. We help with that integration with the backsliding, Eli said. That is part of the program. So yes, it is a solo retreat kit in a box for that 3 days, but there's so much more outside of that. And one other thing I wanted to mention was coaching is powerful. There are so many great coaches out there that we all know, that we all listen to and we follow. Some of us have personal coaches. But the thing between coaching and what we do is a lot of times, if you can find out the answers from your own inner deep voice, it is so much powerful, so much more intrinsic and motivational to move forward because that's something that you found and that came from your spark rather than a coach kind of guiding you to get to the point that they know you need to figure out. And so it's a beautiful experience that people are going through because they are finding out exactly what their sticking and breaking points are and how to push forward because it's all done by themselves.
Seek advice, but integrate it into your life. Something young entrepreneurs all the time, but I think every entrepreneur and business owner needs to hear it is there is so much value in coaching and mentorship and masterminds and communities, but the advice you receive is external. And so I love that what you guys allow is you could bring that external advice, but you could then integrate it into you, into what actually aligns with your purpose and goal. Gary is bombarding me with questions. There's some great ones in here. So let's go back to this idea of like best practice when we are picking a location, a space, and or where people go wrong. 'Cause I know we had some questions on, do you bring your spouse or is this a vacation? How far away from home should you go? What are some best practices when we're just planning our 3 days?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but there's a few very specific items. One, you're not bringing your spouse. We do have a program we're creating that is a spousal retreat together, but this is for you and your inner voice. So you need minimal distraction to really focus on yourself because you can't show up for your spouse if you can't show up for yourself first. Two is these are minimal spaces, but spaces that also will rejuvenate you, but have minimal distraction. So you don't want the big TVs. Those aren't things we're looking for. But if there's items in there like a hot tub or a sauna or a cold plunge or a view that helps you find peace and serenity and helps you focus in that solitude, that's really important. A lot of people go glamping. They go to A-frame cabins that are out in nature. We have a lot of integration with nature in our program. So really finding areas that you can feel intentional in and feel quiet and stillness is important.
Let me ask the follow-up question because you mentioned the spouse. I'm a busy entrepreneur. I travel a lot.
Sure.
I'm on stages a lot. I'm at events a lot. I'm sure this is feedback you get. So help me help pitch to my own spouse, right? How do I go to my spouse and go, hey, I'm going on another trip, but this one's different, right? Give me some language and let's deal with that objection.
Absolutely. The one that is probably a little bit more cliche and probably heard from most of your guys' audience is you have to show up for yourself before you show up for others. And again, it's all about that inner voice, that inner compass. Once you come back and you have alignment around, ultimately, the most important part about our program is you discover the question and you find the answer to what is important in your life. And if you were to talk to your spouse and say, I'm going out to find what is really important in my life. And we've had multiple people, multiple high-level executives with a spouse go through it, and they come back and what they have found is that time with my spouse is extremely fragile and very important to me. And they will delegate and they will sell off businesses or whatever it is that is taking that time away from their spouse. They will find that internally and say, man, life is short. I want to spend more time with my family. So they start to delegate out. So the most important part of this is going off to find what's extremely important to you that has alignment, again, around your purpose and what's really powerful to you. Anything you'd add to that?
I would. I think it's also to show that about a third of the people that have gone through our program, they're couples, they're married individuals. So they'll go both and do their own thing, different weekends or the same weekend, whatever it is. And the alignment that you see in their marriage and moving forward is insane. It's powerful because they both then have the same vocab and understanding of what the other individual goes through. And we do, that comes with our 3-day program, is we do have a partner spouse integration workbook for them. So they know how to best support you coming back because you have so much newfound information about yourself. It is so easy just to want to throw up all of that onto your spouse. And so your spouse needs to know, okay, I shouldn't be asking, so what did you learn? Was it worth the time? Was it worth the money? No, you want to hold them in a different way and help them reintegrate back into the chaos of life. And that's been found to be really helpful.
I love that part because, I'm definitely the vomiter, right? In our relationship.
Sure.
It's my day. Let's go. I think that is important, though, to figure out, like, how do you support that conversation? So I love that you guys have thought about that. I think that's super important. What business partners? Same answer. Is it if you have a partner, 1, 2, 3, is it like everyone should go do one and then have a collective group meeting after? Let's talk through that scenario.
Sure. That is one that we're really passionate about. Kyle and I, we mentioned in the top of the show, best friends and co-founders. And we are huge believers in co-founders for so many different reasons. And that's a whole nother episode. But we have a lot of co-founders that gravitate towards us because of our background. And what we really encourage them to do is actually to book a retreat house or location together and then split off during those days and doing the different activities. So they each have a solo retreat experience box and they're going off into different places and they're coming back and debriefing together. And that's something that we're doing is we're providing these debrief kits that they can actually come together at the end of the day or the end of the night or however they want to break it up, talk through it. It builds great communication. It's just like a marriage. And then when they come back, we will facilitate a group debrief. And that's when, again, like Kyle mentioned, that integration piece is so powerful when they come back.
Let me ask a double question. I think that fits well here. Is this a one-time thing, right? So is this something you just do once, we're done, we never do it again? And then the kind of follow-up to that is, can one of these really can just 3 days truly move the needle? So maybe we integrate a case study or something you should have seen. So is it just a one-time thing? Talk to me about, can we actually have big impact in doing this one time?
Yeah, it's definitely a reoccurring thing that people go on this. They'll do the 3-day and they find that it's so powerful to turn off all the noise in life and remove it and to really realign with who you are and moving forward and making sure like all the goals and the vision that you set out on that 3 days is still happening. So we have people that go back and do the 1 day just to refresh and realign with who they are, the 3-day, because we are moving so fast as entrepreneurs. It is so important to take a step back sometimes. You see all of this, you have all the cards laid out. Let's actually look at the cards again, other than just making these fast, quick decisions that are typically made on emotion, not actual breaking down and looking at. So yeah, we see that all the time. I'll let you jump into that.
Yeah, Devin. So a case study, just kind of more of a global case study. Bill Gates does a Think Week once a quarter. And for the entirety of him running Microsoft, he did a Think Week where he splits off to his cabin in Seattle and he reads for a week. He shuts everything off. He removes the noise. And the best ideas from Microsoft came from that. And so he didn't just do one Think Week. He was doing that over and resetting himself, removing the noise and hearing that deep inner voice inside of him. A more like high level case study, though it was not through our program, it's the same concept of removing the noise. So that is extremely important. And like Kyle said, slowing down, pausing, with intention and making those decisions based on alignment is so important. I know you're a golfer, Devin. Kyle and I are as well. We always use the analogy of if you're swinging harder with golf, you're not going to hit the ball as consistent and straight as if you were to just slow that swing down a little bit. It's the same concept here. Yeah. And we've always used that in our back end.
Few examples of experiences people have had, though. We've had individuals that had a business for 10 years decide on that 3 days, I need to sell this business because it's not allowing me to have the time with my wife. We've had people that have said, wow, my job's toxic. I've been at it for 18 years. It's time for me to leave it. Yeah. We've had people come to the realization that they're actual addicts and they didn't realize they were. And so they stopped drinking alcohol. We've had individuals take a step out and be like, wow, I realize I don't have a good relationship with my father. And I actually can't trust anybody and delegate because my father lied to me when I was 8 years old. There are so many different experiences people are walking away with because they're actually finally able to reflect on their life. Yeah. Otherwise, we are moving so fast. We cannot take a step and actually look and say, wow, what is actually stopping me here? What is the limited belief not allowing me to go to the next step in life? What is this emotional baggage that I'm carrying around that I just need to finally cry it out, look at it, and say, okay, this is identifying me today, and I need to change the identity and the emotions that I have with this single event so it can actually help me and push me forward.
Talk to me about, how do you guys encourage people to trust themselves again, especially if burnout or confusion has dulled their confidence?
That's a really good question. So you're asking how we are helping people develop trust within themselves again?
Yeah, people are so abused and beat up. And so give me some tangibles on what are the things that are going to help them reignite that fire or whatever's lost.
Sure. I think one of the big ones is going back to limiting beliefs. Individuals have these deep down limiting beliefs that were cemented at potentially a young age because of some type of event. What we're doing through this program is giving people the confidence to rewire those limiting beliefs and remove those roadblocks. Because typically that's creating some type of fear. And that fear allows us not to move past and actually excel to that potential. So we've seen people, like Kyle mentioned, there was the example of not trusting an individual. Just to unpack that a little bit further, when he was 8 years old, he was pushed into this thorn bush. And his father did not admit to pushing him into that bush. What that did is he didn't even realize it. He went into it thinking about this was a business retreat, going into it thinking about like, how am I going to better my business? And that ended up boiling up. But what he found from that is a lack of trust. What's happening in his business is because he can't trust anybody, he cannot delegate anything. So as a result of that, he is overworked. He is completely burnt out. He has lost alignment in the business and passion and purpose. And now he is like on this horrible verge of no work-life balance, no family life. And the ripple effects are pretty obvious at that point. There's potential divorce, kids not being a part of the life. So something small like that built the trust in him to be like, we're going to rewire this. And now I can delegate. Now I can trust and have that confidence because I knew what it was holding me back.
Yeah.
And they can move forward after that.
I think to just jump in there and add one more thing. It's hard to trust yourself, especially knowing that you're going to go out for a few days. Are you actually going to get a return on it? Are you actually going to have the time and actually see that there's difference in identity shifts changing my life? And the great part about our program is we have structure for you to do that. A lot of people want to go escape. They want to go off the grid, spend some time alone, do their own little retreat, but there's no structure behind it. And so even if you could just give yourself the permission to submit to yourself and say, okay, I'm going to go and do this. And the nice part is I actually have the structure. So I know I'm going to get a return somehow. I'm working on towards something. And it really helps build that trust factor for most people.
All right, you teed it up. Let's go there. So I want to go to the structure as much as you want to share. I know there's probably part of it that needs to be experienced in a moment, but let go as deep as you're willing to go on what is the structure over 3 days. Talk me through the process so people understand this is what I can expect. That way they really see the difference versus, like you said, just escapism and whatever that means to them.
I'm going to go high level and then I'm going to let you.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
So when you first engage with us, we get you set up. We get on a call and try to figure out what your intention is to move into this program. What is it you're trying to look out of it? And at the end of the day, like, why do you need this? Why do you feel like you need to remove the noise? And then we get you started with a clarity workbook journal and a how to plan your reset retreat. And that's going to help you do some pre-work for a little bit just to get your mind moving in the right direction. So everything doesn't feel so foreign when you get started. After that, there's a get starting workbook that you do the day before. And that get started is going to help you ease into it rather than just rip the Band-Aid and jump right into it. Then the first day is going to be self-discovery. Discover who you are, why do you do things, what has happened in your life. Next day is going to be self-reflection, reflecting on your limited beliefs and your emotional baggage. And the third day is going to be a workbook all around vision crafting. What's next? What are the different opportunities I have? What if I don't change? What is my life going to look like? After that, as close as possible, we try to do a one-on-one debrief call with you, an integration call. Let you word vomit on us because we understand what you've gone through. And those are very powerful. Then from there, you can choose to do one-on-one coaching, or you can jump into our online community, which we call the tribe, to be with other individuals that have gone through this. And then, of course, we have our mastermind program and in-person retreats.
And all of our programs throughout our entire company, under this umbrella of the Solo Retreat Company, is all guided by a framework that we built. The framework, Kyle mentioned the buzzword reset. We've heard individuals coming back and saying, man, I feel reset. I needed a hard reset, or I need a reset. So our framework is all built around that. It's an acronym for the word reset, which stands for remove the noise, engage in the present, see what's true, envision what's next, and take aligned action. That concept and that framework is dripped all throughout every single part of all of the retreats that we do. And it's everything that we coach in the back end. And it is changed a lot of people's lives. And it's something, again, Americans love acronyms, something that they can go back and lean on when they're going through a pain point or a pinch point, or they see a roadblock in life. They can use this acronym to, again, the most important part, in my opinion, of the framework is removing the noise. We have Slack notifications going off all day, emails, phone calls, to-do lists, expectations of ourselves and from others. When we remove that noise, we can start to hear that inner voice again.
I was going to ask, right? Part of the framework has the biggest impact.
Yep.
And ended there. So let's just go a tad deeper there.
Sure.
When you're going on these retreats, location we've talked about is important. Having a structure and framework, definitely, because maybe you've done the backpacking, but you need a structure.
Yep.
But the other part of this we need to know is like, you're going to have to be diligent with the phone time. And you talked about television, like you need to actually unplug. The importance of that. Let's really hone in there.
Yeah. I'll jump in and say another angle of it. Yeah. You don't want to have a Sunday NFL ticket and like a massive screen. That's not what you're going there to do. This is a digital detox experience. Everything is around, we teach you and show you how to create this solo retreat mode on your phone, kind of a focus mode. Only one individual, your emergency contact, can get through to you. But what's really powerful is the neuroscience that comes behind shutting off the noise. We have these interconnected regions of our brain. It's called the default mode network. And what's actually happening and what that is responsible for in our brains is creative introspection, creative insight, and self-awareness. But it only turns on when the noise is off. That's the only way that part of our brain will actually activate. So our solo retreat program and the structure behind it is actually backed by this neuroscience. There's a reason that we have some of our best drives when we're going on a long drive and just cruising, or we're in the shower for a while, or we're on just like a meandering, unintentional walk. Those ideas are coming in because we've actually shut the noise off. And that is the power of shutting the phone off, shutting the distractions, the technology off, and getting back to the power of pen and paper. We have people going through our program that journal like 100 pages in these journals that we provide. And it's incredible. They have tabs, they've got highlighters because they shut that noise off, and that default mode network went to town and it just unlocked.
Yeah. And a lot of people are really like afraid of what they're going to miss from their phones. We have a full, which could be a standalone product. We have a full digital detox guide that helps you through that, answers those questions that you have, the what ifs, and to help you understand this is probably one of the most healthiest things that you could do for yourself is actually turning these devices off. So we walk you through the whole process. For a lot of those individuals that are worried, how's my life, how's my business going to keep running without me? How are my kids and my wife or my husband going to survive without me? You'll be all right. You'll figure it out.
Let's talk about the follow-up to, again, I know we highlighted this and you guys supported, but are there some other best practices that either people integrate or you recommend? You mentioned journaling, maybe time blocking comes into here. What are some other things you're seeing people post-retreat integrate into their life or things you recommend?
Yeah. We've seen journaling working really well. A lot of individuals either journal a little bit before or they've never journaled. And once they do 3 days, 72 hours of journaling, they are so excited to kind of keep that moving. And the power of it too, just getting these thoughts to paper is really powerful. Another one we've seen, and you touched on it, is time blocking for themselves, creating stillness and creating solitude for them to just be a human. A lot of people will develop a silent morning routine, whether it's going out on the porch with a cup of coffee, a journal, or they go to a coffee shop with just their journal and a coffee, and they leave the phone. We've seen a lot of people block off like a Wednesday in the middle of the month for them to do an activity that they love. And that's something that we highlight in the program, which is, let's talk about something that you love that you haven't done. And it's this full rating system of, on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate this activity and how many times a month do you do that? And typically that is illuminating to people, man, I'd love to play golf, but I haven't played in the last 3 months. So they'll be like, that brings me a ton of joy and I'm able to show up better for my wife or my husband. So I'm going to dedicate a day to play golf.
It's a good reason why to play golf. Good excuse.
That's what I use. Yeah. Yeah. No, so I'd say that's the biggest ones we see. I think great habits, great rhythms being built, and then ultimately blocking off time for themselves.
Perfect. This is recorded, so I'm going to tell Haley that it is mandated that I golf because of Eli. That's what I heard.
Mine was.
That's what I heard.
You heard it here, Haley. I'll back it up.
Talk to me about your tribe. You mentioned that post-retreat, you've got a gathering place for people. And obviously, I'm a huge advocate for community. We're recording this inside of one. Talk to me about the tribe. What do you guys have in there?
It's powerful, man. So anyone that goes through our program, they get on our online community, which is through Slack, and just people chat it up, support each other. We have monthly mastermind calls that have different themes. And it's just a way for one, accountability and check-in, just to continue to really prime that muscle of just having mental fortitude and accountability from others. And just know you're not the only one. You're not the only one going through this. You need to keep moving forward, and you have support through us and other individuals.
Yeah, Devin, we've been a part of programs where it's like you're wrestling with something and you need that hot seat space.
Yeah.
That's something we do in the tribe, which is, hey, let's unpack whether it's a personal or professional issue, and let's triage this as a group. And it's just as communities and group learning, you can move so much quicker.
Well, let's talk about how people can engage with you. We'll get into some other questions. And you've got a book coming out if you want to tease that. What are some other ways people can get involved with what you guys are doing?
For sure. There's 4 different ways. One, definitely connect with us on LinkedIn. We're busy. We're talking on there. We're having great conversations. It's a great way to just go straight and message us, talk there. Number 2, of course, is just checking out our website. There's tons of cool resources on there, understanding more in depth about our program. That's soloretreat.co. We have a newsletter on there that we'd invite you to join. It's called the Weekly Reset. So we send an email every Sunday that's about 5 minutes, has some journal prompts in there, some quotes, some stories. And the great part about that is it's a way to end your week with reflection and start your new way with intention. And a lot of people find it really powerful and they look forward to it. And we know that because it's got insane open rates. So people are doing the prompts and they're working through it. And of course, it's our book, which you've helped us through that whole process. And it's called The Power of a Solo Retreat. And it goes over the reset framework and how to really take time to yourself with structure and the power of it.
What's one action item? Give me something right now that someone listening or watching, something they could do today to just start moving in this direction. And let's give them a nugget.
Yep.
I have always said that you have to give yourself the permission is the very first part. As entrepreneurs, as coaches, as high performers, we're always thinking that if we pause, we're going to be missing out on something or falling or sliding back. So you need to give yourself that permission that it is okay to pause and realign. Individuals out there that are listening to this, alignment is everything. It creates better decision-making, and your decision-making becomes a lot more binary. It's a yes or a no based on that alignment, values, morals, purpose. That's the whole power of what we're doing.
I like that. What haven't we talked about? I know there's so much more we could get into. We're coming up on time. What else is on your heart or mind you guys feel like you want to share?
I think to jump in and just add another thing that you could do, something that we really highly talk about is doing micro resets in your day. It doesn't take 3 days, although 3 days is powerful and impactful and so much can happen in that 3 days. It also can just take 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Knowing that maybe today you're like stressed out, there's a lot going on, you got notifications, turn it off for 5 minutes, go take a step outside, go into a different room, do something to remove the noise. And you'll be surprised on how much happens inside. There'll be an outpouring of ideas and decisions, but you're also just letting your nervous system chill. And so just doing that micro reset for 5 minutes every day is a huge change in difference.
Yeah, it is. Devin, I think one thing to add in terms of other things to chat about real quick is who this program best fits. Who would even consider a solo retreat, and why would they consider a solo retreat? We're seeing, and this is just based off experience, individuals that are overwhelmed, stressed, have to make large decisions. So those could be executives, CEOs, entrepreneurs, founders. The other layer of this is anybody going through a transition, a new chapter in life. Maybe they're getting promoted from middle management to upper management. Maybe they sold their business and now they are looking for what is next. Maybe they went through a divorce. Maybe they're now about to be an empty nester. All of these are transitions in life, chapters in life where you need that hard reset and alignment moving forward. We're starting to see a pretty decent uptick in retired athletes coming through our program. They have done the sport that they are disciplined in from the day they could walk, probably in some of these cases, and they get hurt or they retire. And now their whole life feels like, where am I going next? What is my purpose here? And we're seeing a great pickup in that world. So this program can be used for anybody, and these transitions and new chapters and identity shifts are really good places to consider going on a solo retreat.
Thank you for that info. Yeah, we missed that bucket, but I love that you talk about athletes. I took some notes too, like exit planning makes a ton of sense. I think so we're definitely going to get some people there. And I know on the financial side, retirement like that, especially if you've been a business owner and you're retiring, that moment like changes your whole life. Like you have a new identity. You have no clue what your purpose is. I love that you guys can create a structure for people to lean into. Again, structure. I think that's very key to what we're talking about today. We're not, although there are a lot of things they can do, I think they need to lean into the structure so that they're coming out with real action.
You hit it right on the head. That's everything. People want structure. They want to just submit and trust a process. Back to trust and confidence. That's what they're looking for.
Don't want to waste their time.
No reason to waste your time.
Talk to me about the big picture. What the hell are you guys building? I know there's a lot of conversation on legacy. I've been there dreaming with you at a mastermind. So let's share a glimpse of that. Like, what's your guys' big vision for what you guys are doing?
Have people experience real solitude. Our goal is to have 100,000 people go through this program, boxes in hand, and know that we're not only, and this comes back to the beginning of the story. This isn't just a business for us. This isn't just, hey, how are we going to sell something? How are we going to coach people? This was a gift that was given to us that no matter what, whether we make $1 or $10 million, it doesn't matter. We need to get this in people's hands because it saw that it saved my life. It saved his sanity. And if we can do that for other people, that's what's important. So it's not really about the business. It's not about how big can we get this thing, but we know that we have something that we need to share. And it's a really simple program. If you just trust the process, do the work, you're going to get the results out of it. It's easy as that.
Journey to 100,000. I'll tap that. My journey to 1 million. I love that vision.
Yeah.
And when people ask me that question, I always like to paint that picture for people. 100,000 people that can find solitude, avoid the break, hopefully. So whether that's the divorce, the emotional decision to exit a company, which never is going to get you a good exit, to the suicide. So let's just put the word out because that's what we're talking about. That's a life saved. There's real impact there, which is saving families and saving kids. It's saving legacy. And so I applaud what you guys are doing. I've been cheerleading for you since I met you. And thank you so much for your time and sharing your wisdom with us, guys. Check the links below. Make sure you engage with them. They're also super connectors. And so I'm sure they'd be willing to open some doors for you if you guys are looking for anything. Kyle, Eli, appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me, Devin.